This is an M-rated game, so viewer discretion is advised.
The House of the Dead. Overkill.
House of the Dead Overkill. It's strange, for a game called House of the Dead, you would think the game would take place in a house full of dead people. But the aforementioned house only shows up in the first level. Truthfully, this should be called Road Trip of the Dead, since they're constantly traveling in the game. There are only 7 levels in this game, so normally I wouldn't show them all. But since this game is so short, I really have no choice or all the video clips would look the same. The story is about Special Agent G, who comes to investigate a man named Papa Caesar, in connection with a rash of mutant attacks. When he gets to Caesar's house, he meets a police officer named Isaac Washington, who's also after Papa Caesar for the murder of his father. They decide to team up and stop Caesar and his mutants once and for all. The game is played out like an old 70s movie. If you've ever seen the movie Grindhouse, it's a little bit like that. Missing reels, grainy film, and an insane amount of cursing. Washington uses the F word incessantly. He uses it like people use the word the. It really went over the top after a while, but since that's what they were going for, I guess it was appropriate. The cursing was so bad that I actually had to mute the audio for this review, because I didn't want any F-bombs slipping through. The game is a rail shooter, and normally I can't stand this type of game. How much skill does it take to point and click at the screen? But this game kept it interesting by the amusing situations the characters would get into. There was a running joke about broken elevators that was just hilarious. The humor in the game is what made me want to keep playing the game to the very end. And it also helps that you have unlimited bullets and basically unlimited continues. When you die, you'll have to sacrifice half your score for a continue, but you can keep doing that over and over again. The control layout is both good and bad. The most basic controls in the game, shoot and reload, were great. B button to shoot and A button to reload. It's when you had to do anything else that the controls were problematic. For example, to use your grenades, you had to press the plus button, which was a bit awkward to do. And it was even more awkward to switch guns. You can have 2 guns on you at a time. To switch between them, you have to press the 1 or 2 button. It was hard to switch between them quickly, because you'd have to move your position of your hand to the back of the Wiimote. They should have had the D-pad handle the grenades and switching weapons. That would have made the game's controls perfect. There are only about 20 different models of mutants to dispatch, so you'll kill the same kind of mutants a lot. As you're traveling through the levels, you can find innocent victims you can save. If you do, you get more points. And that's what this game is about, racking up points. The more mutants you can kill without missing a shot, the more your combo totals will go up until you get the ultimate level of combos called a Gorgasm, which will give you a lot of extra points per kill. As you travel through the levels, you'll find stuff to help you, like grenades, health, and green goo. The green goo will make it easier for you to get combos, as it will slow down the action. It is a great help if you're only trying to do headshots. At the end of every level, you fight a boss character, and they were usually pretty fun to battle. They would even circle when and where you're supposed to shoot the boss characters, so you don't need to worry about figuring out how to kill them. So that was convenient. There are hidden achievements that you could do on every level. When you do them, you'll get more gold, which can be spent on upgrading your gun or purchasing other guns. There are also extras to unlock by completing certain goals. If you really enjoy games that there are a lot of optional objectives you can do, this game has a good amount of them for you. After you complete the game, you'll unlock a new mode called Director's Cut. It's just the same game with new locations and more mutants. It was interesting to see the new locations, but since I was playing the game for the story, it didn't interest me too much since it really was just the same game, just a bit longer. If you want, you can also play some mini-games, but honestly, I thought they were all kind of boring. Now, this game can be played with a second player, but since this is an M-rated game, I didn't actually have anybody else to play it with, because my kids were asleep when I played this game, so I couldn't test to see if it worked well. This is the first time I've ever played a House of the Dead game, and I enjoyed it. But that being said, I finished this game very quickly, so I wouldn't recommend buying the game, but it is sure worth a rent.